Perfect. All right. Excellent. We are very, very lucky today to be speaking with Matty Dunbar from Sydney, Australia. It's nighttime. It's morning time here. Super sweet to have you. Welcome, Matty. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's nighttime over here now, so I'm just kind of getting ready to wind down. But yeah, just trying to keep busy.
Excellent, excellent. So I understand that you're currently in lockdown. How's that all going for you with a guy who loves traveling so much and doing all the things out there in the world?
Yeah, man, it's been pretty wild. Luckily I was on the WSL on the Australian tour this year, so I got the 4 events in and at least got a bit of travel there. And Rottnest Island was pretty wild and just real different. So that was pretty nice in a 2-year period where I've been stuck here. And then also my hometown Narrabeen, the waves have just been firing, and I guess it's probably also a good thing with COVID. Got a lot of the pros kind of hanging around who would normally be traveling as well. So it's kind of been cool to shoot at home because it's been a fair few years since I've been able to do that.
Super epic. So you guys right now are able to enjoy the beaches. You're able to go out there and be on the beach, and you're not just held up in your houses.
It depends where you live, and luckily, I live in the Narrabeen Council, so I can go down to the beach and shoot, surf, and within reason. We're kind of at the tail end of all this COVID stuff now, so just had an announcement today, so it sounds like another three weeks, and should be fairly back to normal. With the international travel and stuff starting to start up again, and I think in another week we'll be able to travel around New South Wales at least. But we're going pretty good over here in Australia, and it's just been this crazy Delta outbreak that kind of slowed everything down. But thankfully, just been pumping waves at Narrabeen. So I've been shooting a lot with Laura Enover and a lot of the local guys here who I guess a lot of them are over on the Challenger series now in the States. So it's been cool.
Super sick. Well, the point of this program is to enlighten the inspired, the other photographers and water artists out there in the world to the individuals who really make this activity, this way of life beautiful. And you are one of those people. Your work is just absolutely incredible. Everyone should check him out there on Instagram. The links will be down below. But you've had a really, really solid career up to this point. You're still pretty young. How old are you now? You're in your late 20s?
I'm 27 at the moment.
Yeah, so you just completely crushed it. So I kind of want to rewind the clock before we kind of get into what you've been doing lately. And I want you to tell us where have you come from? How is it that you became the waterman that you are today? What was it? Something in your youth that just got you? Was it your parents? Enlighten us a little bit to those beginning years that sprouted this seed.
Well, funnily enough, I didn't grow up surfing or anything. Kind of, it was a fair bit of a nerd, to be honest. And then, during school, just met a couple of guys in my year who started bodyboarding, and there's a couple of pretty fun bodyboarding waves around the northern beaches. So, kind of got stuck into that, and then kind of, found a camera at the same time. Just kind of on my granddad was a bit of a, just a hobbyist photographer, but every time we kind of go on holidays with them, I'd always be trying to nick his camera and have a play with it. And then he got like a I don't know, it was just a pretty crappy lens at the time, but like a manual focus kind of, I think it was 50 to 500, but just having that length in a lens has just made me realize that you can kind of get pretty cool shots with just using the backdrops and moving around, shooting some different angles that are just different from just your average guy just standing on the shooting in front of the beach. So just just frothing on trying to do stuff different. And then, yeah, like just traveling and doing bodyboarding little trips with some of my friends. And then eventually just got like a crappy little point and shoot camera and a little housing for it that, was really cheap. And, I think it was like 4 megapixel. Yeah, just something, but yeah, got us frothing. And I think I had a family trip up to Snapper Rocks. And yeah, just kind of discovered how blue water can be and how good surfers really are. And, it doesn't take long to hang around D-Bar and Snapper Rocks to kind of see all the pros come out and see what they can do. So that was kind of a big kind of moment, just one of those holidays, and had that underwater camera. So just kind of swam out and kind of blew me away from there.
Yeah, I can totally relate. One time at the beginning of my career, it was Snapper Rocks actually that got me just like blown away at the amount of professionals that hang out in that zone. It's just really incredible. So you said you were a bit of a nerd. You were in school. You were studying a lot. What were the studies that you were really kind of focusing your life to go towards before you diverged into the world of arts and photography? What was kind of like your track before the arts?
Well, yeah, I guess that's maybe like an Aussie thing, but yeah, when I wasn't really that studious, to be honest. But like when I say a nerd, just kind of referring to like playing a lot of Xbox and PlayStation, whatever, that kind of jazz. And so it's just kind of like as I was growing up, kind of discovered, holy shit, you can actually go out and catch waves, and yeah, like pretty blessed here in the Northern Beaches, a lot of fun waves around. And yeah, at the time there was yeah, around Narrabeen, like yeah, after that Snapper Rocks trip, like I started bringing the camera down to Narrabeen. And it's actually pretty funny because I think one of the first times I walked down there to go shoot, I've actually walked into another surf photographer getting his head punched in by one of the locals. Narrabeen's a pretty gnarly place.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, whoa, what's this all about? Like this guy's, this guy's getting his head beaten in, kind of just.
So just I'm assuming it was because that he was showing a break that they didn't want to be seen by other people. Yes.
Yeah. So Narrabeen typically, yeah, back in the day, like people would slash tires and stuff like that. Even though it's like kind of in the middle of Sydney, but there's still quite a bit of history there. And
is this the Bra Boys movie? Is that where we could be educated as to? Is this where the Bra Boys are from?
No. So that's probably an hour and a half away, kind of over the bridge. But Narrabeen typically, again, like Damien Hardman and his era, like Damien Hardman is a 2-time world champion, kind of around the time of Tom Carroll and Barton Lynch and whatnot. And he's kind of, his nickname was the Iceman. He's always been known as kind of like a more hardcore kind of guy. And I think he kind of got that from dealing with that environment in Narrabeen, and that's it. It's just like it's in Sydney, fun ways, but it's kind of in that era, yeah, it was pretty hectic. So kind of came through on the tail end of that, and yeah, saw that photographer kind of getting bashed up, and I was like, whoa, like it must be good if this guy's like still doing it, whatever. And I feel like as I started shooting, that kind of dissipated, and there's definitely not that same vibe that there was when I first saw it, and it might have been once off or whatever. But yeah, the light and the just the consistency of the waves in Narrabeen. I'm sure you might have seen the World Tour event in Narrabeen, and
absolutely,
and the waves are actually. Those waves are actually pretty crap compared to what we normally get. Like the sandbank wasn't that good. It was pretty bad direction. And yeah, so like, yeah, you can imagine, once you have the banks and have the surfers and the conditions, it's a pretty good place to shoot.
So you start shooting land. When do you move to the water with a water housing?
So yeah, I towards the end, when I left my high school, I actually won a photo competition with what's now Surfline. Won a photo competition with them and won a trip to Hawaii. And I still had a basic point and shoot camera. I think it was actually I just upgraded to the 7D at the time, and I won this trip to Hawaii, and I was like, holy crap, like this might be the only chance I get to go over to the pipeline and see what it's all about. Yeah, so I kind of somehow got some money together, and yeah, got a really basic housing, and yeah, got it like maybe a week before that trip, which is probably not the best thing to do. Like you kind of need a bit of experience before going over there, but yeah, just kind of I took it easy, knowing there's a lot of politics involved in shooting out at pipe, and you can't just swim out the front, swim up the top and get in people's way or anything, and you have to. So I did take it easy, and just some of those bigger days, I swam out and just kind of sat on the back and watched and shot and stuff like that. So yeah, that was incredible. And then yeah, once I was in the pipe once, it's kind of that's well and truly hooked and wanted to pursue it for sure.
So amazing. Pipe is definitely that spot that kind of gives you that confidence to really be able to go anywhere in the world and be confident with your skills. So you leave Pipeline, you come back to Narrabeen. Narrabeen also has, from what I understand, really slabby, rocky spots. True.
Yeah, it's more kind of sand bottom banks here, and it's very very sand dependent in Narrabeen. But yeah, I'm sure from photos you've seen, it does get very heavy, and like we went 5-6 years or something where the waves are just crap, like the sand just wasn't there. And I think at the moment they're kind of doing certain things with sand management on the beach with erosion and stuff. And so we've kind of been lucky now that, yeah, during COVID, we've just had the last 2 years have just been incredible waves that, yeah, waves you'd compare to pipe and whatnot. So, yeah.
Well, I would like for us to kind of hear about what was the precipice that got you to say, hey, I'm going to take this into a professional career as opposed to something that is kind of something I do on the side, where you were like, I'm not going to go the standard route of maybe other people in my age group. I'm going to enter the arts and do say what I love.
Yeah, well, I kind of never really wanted to head out to university or college for that matter, and kind of just wanted to see what I could do and pull off. And straight away I did that trip to pipe, and then I had a couple of there was a women's world tour event with the ASP at the time, which is now the WSL, that was in Sydney. I kind of just by chance, I hit up the media manager at the time and just said, oh, if you guys need a hand, then, give us a bell. And pretty funny, he said, yeah, come along and give us a hand. And I actually broke my arm just before I got there. So couldn't really do much as a photographer, but kind of, still just did it and got along with those guys. And that's kind of how I realized that you could have a pretty amazing lifestyle kind of traveling and shooting. And from that year, I assisted that one time, it just kind of snowballed from there. It wasn't a quick process by any means, but yeah, I kind of, once I won that trip to Hawaii, the next 5 or 6 years, I kind of paid off my own back to go to pipe and kind of shoot and kind of be in the mix. At that same time, I was kind of growing with the ASP WSL in the Australia region, kind of getting more and more events and yeah, shooting at home and stuff. And then and then to be honest, it wasn't until kind of recently, maybe in the last 3 or 4 years, that it really did kind of go up that next level where I could kind of live off it and have a lot of amazing trips around the world. And yeah, and it's just kind of pretty crazy come to a kind of halt during COVID, just to kind of look back on it. But yeah, like looking back at 2019, it's probably going to be one of the highlights of my life. Like I apart from kind of getting to the height of where I could with the WSL, I got to go to Tahiti, commissioned to go shoot that, so that was always a dream. Shot Owen Wright winning the event there, which was really special. And yeah, having that access to just be me, him and Gabby out in the water at the base of those mountains that's something I'll never forget. And some of those images is something I'll hold on to for a long time. So yeah, just the access that I've been lucky to have, that I've gained over those years is just, just a really, I feel like every event is just a really special privilege. And it's kind of cool. I kind of feel like I've earned it now because I've put in the time and the effort, and I really do enjoy that. But yeah, that going through in 2019, kind of, that Tahiti was that was the pinnacle of that year. And also working with Laura Enova, a big wave surfer, We did a movie and book project called Undone. So that involved going to a lot of the heavy slab waves around Australia, on the East Coast. And then we even drove from Sydney across to Western Australia, which is about 50 hours driving or so. And just, that some of those waves are just like nothing you've ever seen before, just out in the middle of the ocean. And yeah, a lot of weather and whatnot included in those big waves. But yeah, so yeah, that year. And then yeah, even went to Mexico, Taiwan, even Bali, a few other trips in that, and that was just, yeah. I'll be interested to see if I kind of have those opportunities again in the same year, just with how COVID's going and kind of certain opportunities kind of being pulled back, and I guess some more companies working towards using local guys. But yeah, that's definitely a highlight.
So you would definitely say, looking back on it, these opportunities you speak of, your entry point was the WSL. That allowed you to get in front of these brands. I've read your bio. You've worked with Billabong, Corona, Red Bull, all these top worldwide brands. Would it be that you kind of got your foot in the door by being around the world's best with this WSL pro event tour, and that was like a great catalyst? And anyone who's looking for an entry point, hang around the best surfers in your area, hang around the best surfers in your region, and you're gonna get some super sick work and come out and just step it up. Is that kind of the advice that you would give?
Advice, yeah. I mean, I dare say, not to be too negative, but the surfing world has changed a lot, and it is getting a lot tougher. But that is definitely the way to go about it. Is those, especially now going from this year onwards, each location, each continent's going to have their own little qualifying series events, and I feel like hanging around those and getting up early, shooting the surfers free surfing before their comp, and then where you can shoot the events and whatnot. It is getting very, very competitive, and the jobs are very few and far between. So I feel like you kind of you got to kind of accept that it may not go anywhere, but you kind of just got to make sure you enjoy it along the way. And I was very lucky with my timing and all my opportunities to kind of get to see what I did and do what I do. But that was over 5-6 years, a lot of commitment involved. I kind of there were two events that kind of really brought me into the main ring with the WSL, and one was I had an opportunity. Like I literally got called the day before to fly across Australia to fill in for someone at one of the comps, and I just kind of dropped everything I had. I did that. I flew overnight. I got there in the morning. I slept for literally 10 minutes before we had to go out and shoot for the whole day at one of the comps. And I think that was probably one thing that really made me stand out. People kind of walking past and going, "Holy crap, this guy's committed." So I think, combination of showing you're committed, polite, and that you can do the job. So and easy to get along with. I think the biggest thing is as well, like with traveling and stuff, I feel like you don't really want to be spamming everyone and all the surfers with all your photos and messages. Oh, can we shoot? Kind of. I think there definitely has to be a bit of back and forth. You kind of have to have a connection with them first, or slowly work at that and go from there. But yeah, you have to kind of impress them as well. So it's kind of a two-way street. That's where things going to grow.
So being super cool is one part, and then let's talk about the other side to that, and that's your process and how you can go driving all night, flying across the country, hardcore travel. You're tired, you wake up, the sun's just rising, and you got to get out into the ocean, or you got to figure out a spot to be on land. Like, what goes through your mind when you're approaching a new spot that maybe you're not familiar with, or maybe you are familiar with, and the ocean is just a different thing every day? What is kind of like your morning routine that gets you set up to be where you need to be to get those 6 shots you get?
I think I really enjoy working towards a project or a goal. And for example, yeah, this lower project, like we did a million trips driving down the coast. Yeah, like you said, like, you know, driving around Australia, not sleeping, like just ridiculous hours of driving and borderline dangerous. But yeah, just with that goal in mind, that I really wanted to achieve a shot of Laura that, you know, could almost have an impact, that, you know, like to showcase women surfing, and Laura was like the perfect surfer, and another perfect opportunity for me to kind of show Laura with this pink board in these crazy blue waves, showing what women can do. And that was the motivation for me in that project, was just to keep pushing until we got it. And by God, we kind of got, you know, we broken cars, broken jet skis, broken camera gear, whatever. And there was probably 10 trips there where I didn't really come along with, you know, more than a couple of photos or nothing that was mind-boggling. But I really wanted to nail that. And it's yeah, just with that commitment and pushing through that, and it can happen.
So you go through, you know, thousands and thousands of clicks, thousands and thousands of photos. You have the idea in your mind what you want. What is it that gets you there? What is it that you're like, oh, that's it? Explain to me that process.
Sorry, mate, I just have to repeat that. It just cut out.
Yes. And okay, so you're doing your traveling, you're making thousands of photos. You have to one, think about what you want, so you're capturing it. Then you have to go back to your wherever you're hanging out at night, process all that stuff. Sometimes you might not get anything. Sometimes you might get a little bit like, oh, that's all right. What is kind of like your streamline effect to being like, that's the one? You already have the idea in your head, or is it a issue of you're just going through the steps that you know that you need to get through to get to that epic shot?
I think I guess, and that's also like a part of surf photography, and part of the love of it is that I feel like, you know, when you get the shot, like you know that, you know, even when, you know, surfers taking off in a wave, you have nice light, or it's a, you know, crazy wave, you have a crazy section towards you get excited that this could be the photo or whatever, you're in position. And I feel like you kind of know when you get a shot. Just being with the ocean, with all the elements, and there's a lot of moving parts when you're out there, you're tired, whatever. Sometimes you don't realize you've got the shot. But I think most of the time you kind of, you know, there's a moment and you go, whoa, like you're kind of living that, and you know that that's a shot. Yeah, so I guess apart from just playing in post, and I guess when you're traveling, you always got to make sure you back up trips, and have an like, yeah, I had an incredible trip to remote New Zealand, and for Red Bull, and yeah, had a epic opportunity to shoot out of a helicopter and stuff like that, and kind of, yeah, so buggered, just a big day. You know, it's like raining while we're in the helicopter, like shooting out, like there's a lot going on, and kind of come in, just everyone's excited, and yeah, like I just had a bit of a moment. One of my hard drives like dropped out of the laptop, and I was just like, oh, like, I just, you know, I was just so, like, I know I'd got the shot, but it was on there, so it was just another part of the process. And man, I couldn't sleep for hours after that, like that moment. Like I obviously retrieved it, and you know, just put the card back in, and did it all again. But yeah, just those nerves and whatever. So I guess, yeah, always have that backup plan, or just a storage option, so that when you do get that shot, that you don't lose it, because it can very easily happen.
Super epic. So looking at a lot of your work, you know, some is on land, some is in the water. What do you prefer? Where do you feel like I get the best goods when I do this thing?
Definitely always depends on the conditions. You know, I think I always try and create something different from everyone else. And I guess everyone is a bit of a cliche. Everyone tries to do that as well. But I don't really get joy in like kind of shooting on the beach. Even just recently, like when we had that, the World Tour event at Narrabeen, and all the pros were there. Wasn't very good swimming conditions, and I had a lot of my friends kind of shooting around me on the beach, and, you know, it wasn't really many options in that weather and that light to kind of move around. I just wasn't really enjoying myself kind of shooting there. You know, it's fun to have a chat with mates, but I would almost rather just put the camera away. knowing that I'm getting pretty much the same stuff, and just have a chat. So I think, yeah, wherever you can, like I, much prefer swimming and trying to get something different because at the moment, yeah, there's not too many guys who are swimming around my area. Even, yeah, like earlier on when there were a fair few photographers around the northern beaches where I live, yeah, a couple of us would, yeah, pay out of our own pocket to go up in a helicopter and try and shoot different stuff. Now we got drones. So yeah, like it's kind of two things. I always, yeah, try and make something a bit different from everyone else, and whether it's a speed blur, whether it's, yeah, shooting water or a higher angle like a drone or a chopper or something. Yeah, I think that's definitely what drives me there.
So it sounds like you feel most comfortable in the water. You said before you got into photography, bodyboarding was your water jam. Is that correct? So bodyboarding was your game.
Yeah. So yeah, the bodyboard definitely yeah, helped us. Yeah, I guess yeah, I wouldn't call myself a hellman in the water. I wouldn't, I'm not crazy. I'm not going to swim out in pipe and shoot fisheye in a 10-15 foot swell or even anything like that. But I kind of know my place, and I sometimes I'll also prefer to shoot long lens in the water just to get something a little different. Just yeah, with a bit of compression with the long lens at some of these slab waves in Australia, it kind of makes the waves, gives them a bit of justice, and makes makes the lips look a bit thicker, and brings the surfer into the action, makes it look a bit heavier. So there's times as well when I'll sit a bit further back and use that long lens to my advantage, and yeah, just get the shot. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, bodyboarding definitely helped me a long way. And yeah, like I said, I grew up, just playing PlayStation. Wasn't really grew up near the beach kind of thing, and yeah, just bodyboarding, and just I guess, yeah, maybe from just getting that vision of getting barreled all the time, you kind of just makes you just want to shoot it and put it on the wall. So yeah.
So these days you're in the water a lot more. What is your kind of physical daily regimen? Do you have one? Do you go to a pool and swim to train, or do you just focus on shooting in the water as you're training? You kind of explain to us your fitness regimen.
To be honest, like yeah, I don't do too much training, whatnot. I play a lot of tennis and yeah, surf and swim a lot. Yeah, I think a lot of people are getting more savvy with training and whatnot, and I probably should, but yeah, for the time being, I kind of I just kind of do quite minimal in that area, which I should definitely look at improving. But that's the thing. Like a recent spell at home, and I found myself swimming for 5-6 hours or something in a session, and then it's been back-to-back swells, so you kind of a couple more days and you're swimming for 4 hours, or I love just being out there, and kind of I've got that base fitness and whatever to do that now. So kind of just been cruising at that while not much has been going on.
So your surfing or your surf shooting activity brings you your fitness. You're also still young, solid in your 20s, just fit champion. Let's go back to the business a little bit. So you're at this kind of point in your career where everything is changing. Can you kind of speak to that again, as far as where do you see the surfing world going as far as in the world of photography professionally?
To be honest, like I think it's definitely it's closing the gap. There's less opportunity with surf photography in the surfing world, for sure. Even from when I started to what we are now, I've had a lot of opportunities over the last couple of years, and now I kind of feel that I've kind of established myself with the WSL and can kind of keep chipping away at that. But that's not the whole year. That Laura end of a project that I was a part of, the Big Wave movie and book, I was a big part of bringing that project to life from the get-go. So I kind of was a part of producing producing the film, so I kind of, you know, made that happen as well. I think there's a very, very small handful of people around the world who are still kind of got that dream job, and I don't think many of those gigs kind of exist anymore. I find myself shooting, well, being based in Sydney, shooting a lot of other work around the place as well. And being in Australia, I shoot a lot of cricket too. Been lucky enough here last year, shot a bit of some cars as well, a bit of racing and whatnot. So I think it's a bit of a balance, but I think if you were to go into surf photography now, trying to make a career, I would definitely try and balance it with other work, whether that's weddings, commercial work, other sports. I don't think there's enough to live off at the moment. It might change after the pandemic and, be another big boom. But there's very few roles, full-time roles, and the magazines are gone. There's very few websites that still kind of pay. I think there's another good opportunity to kind of progress and experience what it's like is, I guess for you guys, maybe in Mexico or Costa Rica and stuff, is kind of going and shooting punters or shooting amateur surfers at surf resorts and stuff. That's kind of what a lot of us kind of did in the Mentawais in Indonesia, even Fiji and whatnot around us. So if you can do that around America, that's kind of good, just to shoot a lot, get paid a base wage, maybe in the off season, in the holiday time, and just get slowly build up more equipment while you shoot more, and go from there.
Do you mess with prints, artwork for the wall? Do you go into that realm of using your work in that regard, selling it as art?
To be honest, I haven't done too much. I mean, most of my work is up until now was a lot of competition work. So there's not too much competition stuff I kind of want to hang up on the wall at the moment, just given with what guys are around at the moment. But I think coming off this last 2 years being at home, there's a lot of stuff I've shot around home that's quite special to me, that I definitely want to go. But that being said, that 2019 year when I went to Tahiti, it's kind of like, geez, like every photo you take out there in the water, you kind of like, shit, that's got to go on the wall, like just the clarity and everything. And that's kind of, and it's probably not once you shoot there, you kind of, it's hard to improve on that with just perfect conditions, and it's just like a studio.
This we call the aesthetic of water. When you go to water and you find just like the most simple element of it, just so mind-bogglingly beautiful in its just still physical state. So you mentioned Tahiti as one of these spots. You go and it's just mind-blowingly crystal clear. Can you speak a little bit to that, about necessarily not so much the place Tahiti, but what is it about the water when you approach it in that space that just brings you to just complete enlightenment? And I'd like to hear your perspective.
Yeah, well, I guess for me, being like growing up in northern beaches, like the water isn't that clear. You might have a couple of months in winter where the water kind of is, I wouldn't call it clear in comparison to Tahiti or anything, but yeah. So that's when I go away and travel, and you go Mentawais or Fiji or Tahiti, even Hawaii. It's just so foreign to me. So like, because I don't live there, just the clarity, and it's just I guess the opportunities of shots are so. Being where I am here, you can't really shoot through the back of the wave underwater because you can't see. Like there's a photo I got the other day actually of fisheye. I was shooting fisheye at a barrel spot, and you can't really see through the wave. You can't really work out what's going on. Whereas in Tahiti, you kind of just, the water's just so clear that it's just so different, unique. And you got guys over there like Ben Twa and Tim McKenna and stuff who are just getting the most amazing stuff all the time with just the most crazy blue water. So I think that's a big part of surf photography too, is kind of putting yourself in those places or at least experiencing them, to see what you can do and see if you can pull something off a bit different. So yeah, I think definitely got to chase that clear water, because it's just even when you just go swimming out there or kayaking, it's just, I don't know, I can't really describe the feeling, but it's a pure addiction, that's for sure. And definitely want to go back and experience that again.
So between your travels, you've been to the Mentawais, which is the Indian Ocean, you've been to Tahiti, Pacific Ocean. Which one would you say is just more spectacular than the other, or are they different? And if they're different, what are kind of the differences?
Oh man, I mean, that's the beauty of surfing, is the travel, and everywhere you go is so unique and different. It's like in that 2019 year, went to Tahiti, clearest water, everything, like I feel like photos kind of show that place. And then I went and I shot the longboarding world tour event at in Taiwan. Taiwan's like, I'd never seen photos of there, had no idea. And flying drones there, and it has a similar, like similar kind of mountainous terrain, just near the oceans, all the breaks there. So you kind of put the drone up and it has such a unique look. So I guess, wherever you are, it has a different look. And it's just, I guess that's why you got to travel and kind of, capture it all kind of thing. You go to the Mentawais and it's got a slightly different look, less people around, palm trees and beautiful white sand. And then you pipeline as well, just a slightly, the water isn't as clear, but just like a real raw perfect wave. And I guess that's maybe a comparison, I guess, just the waves, like Mentawai is more mechanical perfect waves, Tahiti you'd call it mechanical and perfect kind of reef. Pipeline's a lot more washy and kind of not as perfect, like a bit more of a, I guess, a bit more rogue. And I guess that might be similar to compare it to some waves along in Australia too, a bit more rogue, more sand options. So there's a lot more elements and a bit more raw. But on its afternoons in Tahiti and the Ments, whatever it is, in the right light, they all have their special look. And I guess that's what I love about it.
Where in the world on the map have you not been that you would like to go?
I would love to shoot the Northern Lights. There was a couple of guys like up around Norway or Iceland or whatnot, just something really, really out there. A couple of guys from the Northern Beaches, Spencer Frost and Guy Willamette, they did a film, and they took one of our local surfers here, and just stayed up there for 6 months and shot surfing with the Northern Lights. And it's kind of a bit of a bummer because I feel like it's almost been done now, but that's just such a unique experience that, shooting it, when you look back at those shots, you're like, wow, that's so different. But just that experience of pushing yourself through that cold weather and having to, just experiencing it in real life and committing yourself to going through that cold to get those shots is just, that's something to walk away with, and something I'd definitely like to try is, even Antarctica or something, just something really different. I guess there's still kind of photos in my mind that I guess, like everyone, when you're a Grom going through their surf mags, there's some photos that really stand out. And I guess for me, that there's a couple of Ted Grambo's images of, I think it was a Rip Curl trip, and they were just jumping off massive icebergs and icicles and stuff. And that's something I've definitely got to do before I kick it. But I think once we're able to travel out of this lockdown, I think everything's going to be pretty exciting again, because it's been 2 years. So yeah.
So you just exert a lot of stoke energy. I can only imagine it's a lot to do with the ocean and what it provides to you. What is it though that really drives you to get stoked? Is it the fact of just being in those moments? Is it the fact of delivering from those moments? Where do you find your stoke?
I think it's different. Like, just talking a lot about traveling experiences, it's just like the people you're around, and I guess for me it's just, I guess couple of big things. It's just moments. It's just yeah, from being in the Mentawais in a boat and getting close to some of the surfers, boat trip, you have nowhere to really escape, so you kind of naturally build a bit of rapport and a bit of relationship, just hanging out and whatever, and have some pretty cool moments doing that. And so some of those surfs you do later in the trip where you actually pretty good mates with the surfers, it makes it even more special when you do nail a shot, or everyone's pumped and everyone can celebrate and live that moment. But equally, shooting a world title and going in and being real close to and witnessing someone else's emotions and just watching, experiencing and documenting that, I think that's really special too. Just again, just different type of moment, but just just I guess the stoke I get is from experiencing those moments firsthand, and yeah, like I wouldn't consider trying to pursue surf photography as a profession as trying to go out there and making lots of dollars, lots of bank, but trying to pursue it to experience those moments. And that's if that's what keeps you going, then definitely worth a crack, because it's pretty epic lifestyle and whatnot when you get there.
Super well said. And tell us a little bit about going to these different places. You go to Taiwan, Tahiti, all over the world. What is the most relatable thing surf culture, people who spend time at the beach kind of have with one another, regardless of their nationality?
I think it's kind of a hard one. I guess perfect waves, just perfect waves when they're out there. You get, like you're out in the Mentawais at sunset and all these boats from different places. You might have a lot of Brazilians or whatever, and you have you guys scoring perfect waves, perfect offshore, and some spectacular sunset happens. You have dolphins go past you or whatever, and it's just something you can kind of go look at each other and go, whoa, like. And that's what I love about surfing. You can have that at home as well, and you score a perfect session with a couple of your close friends and something you can look back on and talk about it. But and that's where photography is pretty cool. You can kind of capture those moments and put them on the wall to kind of remember and move on and hunt for the next kind of experience and whatnot.
So the amount of people who get to experience these things is just so small and tiny. We have the rest of the world who is not even really aware that it's even happening or going on. Would you say that photography and what you do is a bridge of that knowledge, that special crystal that those who understand, but those who don't understand can understand through the work that you do?
I hope so. It's I think you said a bit earlier, but I didn't grow up with too many friends of mine who kind of chose a similar course as me. And from that, I kind of, met so many people that I never would have met and whatever. And it's still like, I have a lot of friends in Sydney who are working 9-to-5 jobs and hustling, doing banker jobs, whatever, and they're making bank, and, they'll have houses before me and stuff like that and whatever. But like, it's, I think it's hard to, it's just different. I don't think one's right or wrong. And kind of for me, looking at all those people getting on the same bus every morning, getting on the same train and stuff, that's different. And like, I'm going to probably have to see that at some stage as well, but it's just that to me is not what I want to do. And that looks a bit weird. I don't see the rewards from doing that, from that hard work, from grinding and working and stuff, and the dollars and the possessions and the houses, holidays, whatever. Whereas I'd rather, for now at least, while I'm still young and don't have many responsibilities and whatnot, is chase those moments and experiences and kind of, it's still like a certain moments I'll go, wow, sick. Like like getting your first surf magazine cover or something. It's something, I've got on the wall here. I don't have many prints of my own photos or anything, but I have that on the wall here. And it's just a memory that I'll look back on. And that makes me really, really stoked to kind of do that. So there's a couple more in my head that I kind of want to achieve, and a couple more moments like that I really want to get to. So one of those is probably trying to get in to shoot the Olympics, or work on it around that somehow, which is again a really really tight weld to kind of crack or even get the access there. So there's kind of things I'm going to have to do outside of surfing to work with other organizations to try and get to that moment. So that's kind of something I'm going to work on from soon, so I can kind of look back on that in the future and kind of go, I kind of did it.
Epic. So what advice would you have for the grommets out there, the young people, or those who are kind of thinking about picking up a camera and heading to the beach? What is kind of some words of wisdom that you would give them if you bump shoulders on the shoreline?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, first and foremost, you got to enjoy it, because that's like, you do your best work when you're passionate about something, when you enjoy it. And yeah, I think like I've kind of said a couple of times, passion and commitment, and it might not seem like at the time, might be a bumpy road or whatever, but it's very, very satisfying once you do get past that bumpy road and jump those hurdles and get to the end goal. I think, yeah, I pretty lucky with grommets growing up now, is that, camera technology is pretty wild. I think the best camera you have is the one that you have access to. I think you've still got to manage still got to have a life. You can't just throw all your money into photography. And I mean, some people do that, but I don't think, like, that's just not my kind of thing. But I think, sorry, I just kind of lost myself there. I would say where you can, get yourself in the water and shooting in the water, just to kind of experience the surfing, and kind of, butt heads with surfers. And a surfer might come by and go, oh wow, did you get that shot of me? Like, oh, I just did that air. Did you see that? And kind of, that's your window in. I feel like it's a lot harder to make those connections from the shore. Within reason, and once you kind of build up that wave knowledge, I think definitely shoot as much in the water as you can. I think that, and then kind of pick your niche, and whether that be flying drones, whether that's shooting in the water, whether that's doing portraiture and lifestyle. There's all these kind of niches, and I think you'll naturally know which ones you want to kind of do, and work as hard as you can on those. And I think you kind of got to do it all these days, but when you're young and starting out, I think you definitely got to solidify yourself in one niche or another, and create a look that people see your photo and they know that's it. Whether that's a certain kind of grade that you follow, a certain crop kind of angle, or a look that people go, yep, that's his work. And that's what we want to use. Beautiful
advice. So we're taking it from the beach. Let's go up in the helicopter, 20,000 feet. You're looking down. What's your general world philosophy?
What's my general world philosophy? I think I'm very lucky to kind of have experienced what I've got to do, what I've seen, what I've done. I feel like I feel happy with myself that I've kind of earned that. I put in the time and everything. So I feel like I need to, at the moment, I guess, during the pandemic, I kind of, looking at the moment for a bit of inspiration myself. So I kind of, I don't know, maybe a little lost at the moment, I guess, like a lot of people around the world, kind of not sure what's going on. I think I'm just kind of chatting with other photographers at the moment, kind of seeing what other people are doing, and waiting for it till I get that spark again. And then I'm going to, put in the same amount of work to kind of start chasing the next experience and the next goal. And my philosophy with that, I mean, I feel like you got to, there's you make your own luck. And by putting yourself in those places and having those ideas and making stuff happen, that's how you make stuff work. And like I've just gone on and said how hard it is to get into the surf industry and surf photography, but go out there and prove me wrong by doing the right things. And like I think anything's possible, but just got to go about it the right way. And the formula that I've said before, it's hard work, being easy to work with, an easygoing person, and
Sick, Matty. Well, we really look forward to seeing where you go with your work. We're going to continue to enjoy what you're posting up there, and most importantly, thank you very much for your time today to kind of bring us into your world and your head, and enlightening us to what's going on with you and how you got to be where you are today.
Thanks so much, mate. Thanks for your time. Yeah, good to chat, and psyched.